Sorcerers use certain holy things. Geronda. What is an enchanter? He's a sorcerer, one who uses the psalms of David, the names of saints, and so forth, together with a mixture of satanic invocations. In other words, while we, reading the Psalter, call upon the name of God to help us and receive divine grace, they, in the way they use the Psalter, only blaspheme the name of God and refuse the divine grace, allowing the demons to do their bidding. Someone told me about a young person who went to a sorcerer to get help in achieving something. The sorcerer read something from the Psalter, and the young man got what he wanted. But after a little while, their poor child began to waste away. What had the sorcerer done? He had taken some dry nuts in his hands and begun to read the 51st Psalm. When he came to the verse, the sacrifices of God, he had thrown the nuts from his hands as a sacrifice to the demons so they would do favors for him. Thus, in the way he used the Psalter, he blasphemed God. Geronda. Some people who are involved with magic also use the cross and icons. Yes, I know. So you see the degree of deception hidden in what they do. This is how the poor people are deceived. They see them using candles, icons, and so forth, and they trust them. Recently, someone told me that there's a Turkish woman in his town who has placed an icon of Panagia on a rock and tells people, "Here is the rock that helps people." She does not say the Panagia helps, but the rock helps. The poor Christians get confused when they see the icon of Panagia. Some of them who may have a health problem will run to it hoping they'll be helped, but the deceiving devil does what he likes with them. You see, when the Turkish woman says that it's the rock that helps them and not the Panagia, who is thus scorned, then the devil takes action. The grace of God is removed and the demons begin to do their work. The Christians run to be healed by the rock and the devil, and in the end are spiritually crippled by the devil, who can do no less. If these people had some common sense, they would be able to see that a Turkish woman, a Muslim, cannot have anything to do with the icon of Panagia. Even if this Muslim woman had said that it is the Panagia that helps, what relation can she possibly have with the Panagia? How much more should she be doubted when she says that it is the rock that helps? I told someone to inform the local bishop so he could take measures to protect the people. Geronda. People ask us for phylacton. It is better to give small crosses when they ask you for a phylacton. Do not make phylacta, because even the sorcerers are now making talismans. They place a little icon or cross on the outside, but inside they have various evil items. The people see the icon or the cross and become confused. A few days ago they brought me a talisman from a Turk, Ibrahim is his name, which even had an embroidered cross on it. I've also heard of a godless man who rolls up various little icons and puts inside of them hairs, little pieces of wood, needles, beads, and other things. When the church censured this man, he simply said, "I am a psychic, and because psychics are not subject to church discipline, he is free to do anything he wants." I advised someone who had been harmed by him, "Go and confess, because you still seem to be receptive to such demonic influence." He went and made his confession and came to tell me. I didn't feel any change. Then I asked him if he still had anything given to him by that sorcerer. "Yes, I still have this little box that looks like a small gospel book," he said. I took it, and when I opened it, I discovered various little icons rolled up inside. I unrolled them one by one and found inside them beads, hairs, and some tiny pieces of wood. I took these things away from him, and the man was freed. You see what a craftsman the devil is. Some poor people wear such talismans as phylacta in the hope of being protected, but they suffer instead. People who have these items should burn them and bury the ashes, or throw the ashes in the sea, and then they should go to confession. This is the only way they can be freed from their demonic influence. Once a young man had come to the Calvary who had had many problems that troubled him physically and mentally for over 4 years. He was living a sinful life and he recently isolated himself in his house, not wanting to see anyone. Finally, after many pleas, 2 of his friends, who came often to the Holy Mountain, convinced him to join them on a trip to the Holy Mountain so they can bring him to my Calvary. On their journey from Uranopolis to Daphne, every time the boat stopped at the dock of a monastery, the young man would involuntarily fall down on the floor. His friends and the fathers who were on the boat with them tried to help him by saying the Jesus prayer. Finally, they arrived at the Calvary. The poor fellow was able to open up his heart to me and tell me about his life. I understood that he was suffering from some kind of demonic influence. I advised him to go to a particular father for confession, do whatever he instructed him, and he would recover. He did indeed go and make his confession. When they boarded the boat to return, he told his friends that the father had advised him to throw a talisman he was wearing, given to him by someone, into the sea, but he just couldn't do that. The more his friends pleaded with him to throw it away, the more he felt unable to do so. He remained motionless and could not even get up from his seat. Then his friends picked him up and took him out on the deck. With their help, the young man managed to remove his talisman and allow it to drop into the sea, not even having the energy to throw it overboard. He immediately felt his arms regaining their strength and energy returning to his tortured body. He began jumping up and down from joy and feeling very lively, as he tested the strength of his arms on the rails and the walls of the boat.